Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Manny and Shawn experience. On this episode, we have a special guest with us today. His name is Ralph Anthony. I love to say Anthony. Stick around. In 10 seconds, we'll talk all about Ralph Anthony podcast here on the Manny and Shawn experience.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey,
Period.
yes.
That was good.
Welcome, everybody. As you can see, there's another face in our podcast today. We're welcoming to the podcast
Hello.
Ralph Anthony. He hosts the Scream Queer podcast, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere and everywhere that you might not even think about is actually hosting your podcast.
Yes. And what Manny didn't do, which he usually does.
Oh,
This is Manny.
my name is
Shawn.
Manny. You guys know what we are, who we are.
Yes. Which is
I am deceased over here.
It's a hot mess today, y'all. But that is what you come here for.
Yes.
But we are happy to have Ralph Anthony here. And we're gonna
Thank you so much for having
thank
me.
you so much for joining us.
I know,
This
right?
is our first collab, so forgive us if it's a little wonky, a little awkward, but we're gonna get through it.
So how have you been, Ralph? You had an exciting week so far, I think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you again. This is one of my first visual collabs. I think you guys are third. But I mean, so I had to try to stay focused and focus on something. But I'm doing okay. Um we're here. We are cleansed. There was a little bit of a pest issue earlier this week. Tune in to next week's episode to find out what that was. No, I'm totally kidding. But yeah, I'm doing great. I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous to be here with you all. You guys are awesome. I love your show. I love the whole aesthetic of it. It's so great. But yeah, I'm really pumped to be here. Yeah.
We're happy to have you here. I don't remember how we ended up listening to your first episode, but as soon as I listened to that first episode, I was working and I had these heavy duty headphones on, so I can't hear anything around me. And you had sound effects in your show, and I was like, "Oh fuck, shit!" And my dog comes running into the room.
That was all part of my master plan.
Yes, you got me hooked from that point on. I was like, "This is such
Thank
a
you.
good podcast," and he's the murder mystery podcast guy. I'm not that much
Nice.
into it, but
Yeah.
yours 100% not lying because you're here. But it's just the way you produce it. You do it in such a flow, and then the sound effects. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Okay, that's what I'm.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I love true crime. Period. End of sentence. I have seen almost every episode of SVU. I listen to so many true crime podcasts. I watched the first 48. I am into the crime. In
Yeah.
another life, I probably would have been
The
a
whole
lawyer,
shebang.
detective. I love everything. And he told me about your podcast, and I listened to it. And my favorite time listening to it is when I was in the car, and an unexpected sound effect came on, and I was listening to it really loud because that's what I do to the podcast in the car, and it scared the shit out of me. And I was like, okay,
Sorry about that.
it's okay.
We love it. I love those little intricacies that you put into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But just tell our listeners a little bit more about. I'm going to read your description here. So it's not all about murder mystery, y'all.
I love that you say murder mystery.
That's not right.
It's not right, but it's cute.
Yeah, I'm going to read the official response. Okay. Each episode of the show offers something truly distinctive, covering a wide range of topics, includes true crime, horror, LGBTQ plus issues, and encounters with the paranormal. So all in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Shall we jump into the mixtape with him?
Sure, we will jump into the mixtape with him. The
Yes.
mixtape will be all about
Ralph.
Ralph. So let's just do it.
You're in the mix.
So, you have a podcast.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've mentioned it a couple of times.
Tell us a little bit about how like you've landed on it. Like I've heard some of your collabs, so I kind of have an idea. But our listeners, I think we've had some of our listeners go over and listen to yours as well, and they're hooked now too. But
Oh
let's
my
talk on
gosh, so awesome.
tell even more of our audience about how you kind of landed on your podcast theme and what kind of got you into it.
Well, I mean, ever since I was like really young, I've always just loved the like horror genre. I used to watch Cold Case Files with my grandma when I was really young as well. And just like the whole, this might sound demented, but the whole like the darkness of it all, it's like always intrigued me. Um, so I believe it was before COVID. One of my cousins had put out a podcast, and I was like, you know what? That's really freaking cool. Like, what can I do to like put out a podcast of my own? And oh my gosh, this is always embarrassing. But at first, it was going to be a like beauty guru podcast. I mean, during that
Okay.
time, like there was like all this drama with all the beauty gurus, and I was just going to be like probably like a gossip podcast. And right, my job then, it didn't really allow me enough time to really get in touch with my creative side. So I mean, it got put on the back burner. But it wasn't until last year I just during spooky season I was posting like scary movies on my Instagram, and it kind of grew from that. The response I got was just so cool. Like I was connecting with people who I had never really connected with, and like that kind of sparked something in me. So I mean, I was like, let's go ahead and do like a horror, true crime, like free talk, hot topics kind of podcast, but not like too gossipy or not too like political. So yeah, I mean, that's how the podcast was born. And at first, it started out as a really raunchy podcast. So that's why if you're looking for a season one, I think I only have 2 episodes from that said season because that's not what I want out there. But no, yeah, like it it just I think January I was like, you know what, let's make this season 2 already because I mean I'm done with what I was doing and let's change it up a little bit. And then I started getting into the whole storytelling where I made my voice really deep and started telling stories like that. And it just kind of like picked up from there, honestly. Yeah.
Awesome. I think for me, it's really hard when there's like one host to a podcast because you kind of have to carry the whole thing.
Yeah.
I have listened to podcasts where there's one host and I'm usually bored to tears. And then there are
Oh
some
no.
that not you.
Bless their hearts.
But it's kind of hard when you're by yourself because you don't really have anybody to play off but yourself.
Mhm.
And listening to you, your personality, the way that you tell details, the way that you do make your voice very deep, like all of that really makes your podcast interesting to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Definitely agree with
It-
that. It's just the way you deliver it, it engages you. It brings you into like what you're telling us. Like when you open up with the stories, I'm just like, oh my God, what is happening? What's gonna
yes,
happen
we love a good cold opener. And like
Yes.
that was really inspired by like you know how television shows like crime shows how when they first start off before they get into their whole credits they show you the like death scene and then it gets into the like credits and then the whole episode is about like solving it. That's kind of like why I do like cold openers just to kind of like catch you guys.
Yeah.
I mean I'm glad it's working.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
kidding.
definitely
But yeah,
working.
no, yeah.
You're definitely hooking us in.
Good.
Um,
No, I'm kidding.
All right, I'll go on to our next question for you. Do you find it difficult to balance your audience between those that are into the crime stuff and then those that are more interested in the LGBTQ part of your podcast? And how do you balance?
That's a really good question. I've never really thought about it, but some of my straight listeners have reached out, especially doing like during Pride Month when I was doing like the Matthew Shepard story. I did the Thomas Bridegroom story or Bridegroom story, sorry. And yeah, they like reached out and were just like, oh my gosh, like the Stonewall is just it's so crazy about like what happened. And just I think it's like informing them. Um, as far as like balancing though, I mean, I don't know. I've never really thought about it, but it's pretty telling on my cover art, like what they're gonna get into.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. That's a tough question, but I mean, I guess I just go based off of like which episode does better than the other and like what worked in that specific episode, and then I would just try to like recreate that like formula. But yeah, no, I can't say I've like focused on trying to balance. That's a really good question. You stumped me. You stumped me.
No, that's cool to hear because
Did I answer that okay?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did. 100%.
Okay.
That's something I think we struggle sometimes with. Like, we like to be that variety podcast, but we know we have like population of straight listeners, right? And
Yeah.
we also like to bring LGBTQ plus issues or things that affect minorities. So sometimes I
Mhm.
feel a little guilt. I don't know if that's a good word for it, but I'm like, I don't want to lose people because we're talking about these
Yeah.
things. But at the end of the day, you also want to be authentic to what you're
Yourself.
creating
Right.
and
Exactly.
yourself. So if somebody had asked me that question, I would probably be like, I don't know. I don't know how I
Yeah.
just freak
But
out and put it out.
yeah. And I mean, I think I have a good like format to where like they can skip over certain things, and I think that's also why I scrapped season 1 because it was just so explicit like when it came to like describing sexual encounters with like different couples, whether that be a gay couple or a straight couple, and it was just too much. So I knew then like that wasn't working. So yeah, I kind of like had to tame it down a little bit, if that makes sense.
I'm sorry I missed out on season 1.
I might release it here and there, but I don't know. It's because like do you like I don't know if this is just me, but like there's like this anxiety of like when people discover your work, most people tend to go back to like the beginning, and I don't want them to judge my show based off of what it was because that's not what it is now.
I get
If that
that.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, our first shows were recorded on a lapel mic,
Yeah.
and the sound was
But you know
absolute
what? Yeah.
trash.
But we got to start somewhere. So, I mean, I
Right.
have to keep that in
Yeah,
my
I
mind as
mean,
well.
that's our journey, right, to where we're
Yeah.
at now in creation. But I totally get it. Sometimes we talk about what we want to do, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to push that envelope. And
Yeah.
but yeah, you always want to be true to who
Like
you are.
what? Give us the inside scoop. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Well,
kidding. I'm just kidding, y'all.
No, we've been talking about doing like more LGBTQ focused episodes. Like we wanted to bring on like dating in the gay community. We're like, how raunchy could that get? It's for our
True.
listeners,
True.
Right.
but we're kind of
True.
exploring some of those topics, and I think we pushed the envelope a little bit with our relationship episode that we did.
Yeah, there were some spicy questions, but we handled them carefully,
Yeah.
I would say.
It was actually one
Yeah.
of our highest listened to podcasts, so maybe that's something
Maybe
we should be doing.
should be doing, yeah.
Maybe you should get on that. Take advantage of that.
So thinking through like your podcast, what has been like a case that you have covered or story that somebody has sent you that just stood out to you and you were just like, wow, that that was crazy.
Well, again, this was a true crime case that I did in my first season. Sorry, y'all. But I recently just talked about it on another podcast I was on. It is the true crime case of Cassie Jo. I can't say her last name. Is it Stoddart or Stoddart? But it's basically like subtitled the Scream murder, and I don't just like it because it's based like they were inspired by the movie Scream. Um, I just think that the lengths that these two high school boys went through to just pursue this innocent girl and basically like kill her. I mean, they so she was. Can I tell the story in like a
Yeah.
Cliff
Yes,
Notes
go
version?
ahead.
Okay,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm interested.
I'm all buckle up, everyone. It's time. No, I'm kidding. But no, so what had happened was she was house sitting for her aunt and uncle, and her boyfriend went to visit her, and he took two friends. So at some point, one of the two friends unlocked the basement, and when the boyfriend left, he wasn't in on it. When the boyfriend and the two friends left, the two friends went back and they went in through the basement and they started like toying with her. They were like turning on lights, they were whispering, and she was getting like really freaked out. So eventually they came out and they stabbed her to death. And the whole crazy thing about this is like they recorded their whole like the whole journey, like from when they were talking about it to when they were planning it, even after. I it's so haunting to like hear that video after they did it, because you can hear one of them saying like, dude, we just killed Cassie, and one of them's like, what are we gonna do? And then the other one's like, shut the F up, we got to get our stories straight. It's so like haunting. um but yeah, I believe they both got life sentencing, and in 2010 they tried to get an appeal. Thankfully that was denied, as it should. But yeah, it just that story is just always just, I don't know, kind of like stuck with me, just because I'm like, these were two like teenagers.
Right.
So it's just, yeah, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean,
But
talk about giving all the evidence over by recording everything they're
yeah,
doing.
I mean, but most criminals are dumb that way. I'll just
I
say,
mean,
like a lot of people are dumb. Like you recording your crime. I guess you're expecting never to get caught, but like, why? Why would you do
I
that?
mean,
for
it's
what? For what?
Yeah, it's not like you're gonna post it on the internet and get
Yeah.
clout for it. So like, why even record yourself? Like,
Although some people, that is their motive,
Yeah.
that is true.
Some
to
people
get
enjoy
famous.
rewatching. Yeah. Or that too, yeah.
I know, that's so crazy.
It's like I tell him, like when we watch like 911 videos on YouTube, and I'm like, these people always get pulled over because they were doing something stupid. Like a tail
Mhm.
light is out. I ran a stop
They're being
sign. I was
sketch.
speeding, right?
Yeah.
It's like you got caught. Like this is why we say criminals are usually dumb.
Dumb as hell.
So I'm sure you listen to other true crime podcasts.
No, he
Yes.
only listens to Scream.
uh, what do you think makes a great true crime podcast or murder podcast, or what sets them?
Um, well, I definitely think like, okay, so I said I grew up watching Cold Case with my grandma, and I think that's
Mm.
probably why I don't do Cold Case true crime podcasts, because not to bring it back to my show, I promise y'all I'm not trying to like plug me again, but the reason why I only choose true crime cases where they have a beginning, middle, and end is because cold case file or cases just give me like, maybe it's the completionist in me. Um I need to know that there was a ending to it. Like they caught the person, they were tried, all of that. So I mean, when I look for them, I look for true crime podcasts that don't do cold cases. I'm so sorry to the cold case community. But no, it definitely helps if you add music into it because it can set the mood. I'm not saying add all these like extravagant, obnoxious sounds like I do, but no, I think like a good soundtrack will like kind of set the stage for people to like really get um involved in it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert, so I mean, I would just say like have good music, and really set the tone, and yeah, like have a vibe. Maybe turn on like a certain kind of voice that you can tell them in.
Right.
I like
Yeah.
that, yeah. And again, shout out your podcast. We don't care because we love your podcast.
Thank you so much.
But definitely, I
Wait,
agree with them.
do you guys have a like a true crime case that's like really like struck you?
Oh my
Do you?
god, there's so many.
It wasn't this last episode that you did. Was that
Oh,
guy
not
that
with
was?
mine. I mean like in general.
No,
You don't
that's
have
a
to
case
choose me.
no, that's a case that stood out to me though because I don't really listen to true crime till I started listening to you. Um, it was a case about the guy that was running down the street.
Oh,
Oh my
the
god.
grinder killer
Yeah, the
thing.
grinder killer.
Yeah, that was so wild, right?
Yeah, I was like, I told him, like, did you listen to the podcast? Did you hear that story? That one was just
It
so
was so
wild to me.
frustrating because nobody wanted to help him at first. And I was like, dude, like, I mean, I get it. I probably would
I
be
get
kind of
it.
hesitant too, but poor guy. But the like dumb thing is like they didn't want to press charges or anything.
That is the thing that got me. I was like, so two people got away. Two people. And neither one of them wanted to press charges. And
They're probably
then
doing something that they shouldn't have been doing.
that is the only thing that I could think of. It was like they were on the
Yeah.
DL or whatever,
They
and
had a
they
wife
didn't
and
want to.
kids.
I see.
That was the first thing I said to him.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
one was crazy. I'm trying to think, because there's so many cases in my head right now.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna come back.
Okay.
We're
Sorry.
gonna circle
Didn't mean to
back.
put you on the spot.
No, it's okay.
Here I am acting like this is my podcast over here. Sorry, y'all.
No, it's you talk to us, we'll talk
Yes,
back.
we
You
love
can ask questions
conversation.
too.
Awesome.
Oh, it's my spot. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Sorry.
What question are we on?
Number 5.
Welcome to the Manny and Shawn experience. We're always
Period.
a mess.
I mean, if it's not a mess, then I don't want
I don't
anything
want
to do with it.
exactly. Who wants
I'm a mess
clean
too. It's
podcast?
fine. Yeah.
So in terms of your creation, could you give us like some insight in behind the scenes of how you create your episodes, how you collect or research cases or all that funness? How do you like pick the music you want to embed into it to bring your audience into it? Give us a little insight on. We promise
For
we won't
sure.
copy it.
Oh, it's fine. So I mean, as far as the whole like choosing what cases I want to do, I'm kind of like just like a sponge. Like I'll be scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, and like a 911 call will pop up, and I'll be like, "Ooh, yeah, save that for later." Or I'm watching TV and they're talking about an old case that happened or just something. So I mean, if I really am like, I don't want to say desperate, but desperate, then I'll go like search like true crime. Like I have an upcoming episode about true crime that happened on Halloween, obviously because it's spooky season. We have risen, y'all. We're here. We are here right
Love
now.
spooky season.
But yeah, I mean it's just it's very casual. So I mean I'll just be scrolling and I'll be like, oh my gosh, like that's a good story. But the whole process, it's I mean, I'm sure you all know. it could be a challenge. I mean,
Most
I live
definitely.
in a I live in a fairly new neighborhood, and there's a lot of children here. So there are times where I'm pulling my hair out because my mic is picking them up, and we also have like a little baby water park across the street. So like it'll pick up splashing of water and like little kids screaming. So I think that's probably the most challenging part. Um, so I'm not gonna lie. There have been times where I do go in my car, which is why I'm a big advocate for going in my car, because it's like my own little sound box. But yeah, as far as like the editing and stuff goes, that's really fun. I love putting things together, and as far as the music goes, I don't know. I think I'll like listen to all like the sounds that are available to me. I think the only sound that I have, oh my gosh, I'm gonna expose myself here. The only sound that I did create from scratch is the opening title where the girl screams and then there's like the beat drop. But all my other ones I use from like a free sound source. So it's not copyrighted. I promise Spotify, don't come for me. Um, but yeah, and then I'll just like listen to each one, and then like whatever the like vibe of the case is, then I'll choose based off of that. Um, so I mean, it's usually like a pretty smooth process for the most part. Besides my software kind of screwing up at times. Um, but I mean, it doesn't take me. It used to take me. Oh my gosh, it used to take me days to like edit, put it all together, and it wasn't even that good until I started using a new program where it I can record in the morning at like 6 a.m. and have the episode done by 2 p.m. So it's like an 8 hour shift, honestly. Um, but yeah, I love the whole post production. I think it's the recording where I get so anxious all the time, and it's like, oh my gosh, it shouldn't be like that, but we're working on it. We're working on it over here.
We're all a
But
work
yeah,
in progress.
yes.
Yeah, we can relate because in the beginning, it took us forever to like set everything up, record, make sure there is no other noises in the background, make sure the dog isn't nearby barking, and
Oh,
like
that's another the dogs, yes.
yes.
Forgot about them.
And then editing and getting everything the way that we want it. Like it was a process, and it we have greatly shortened the time. But now putting it on YouTube adds an extra layer of work to it. Um, but we feel like it's worth it, and like we've gotten better,
Yeah.
and you get better as you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
See, that's the part that's so frightening to me is it's I mean, I said it's like an 8 hour shift, but I don't want it to just go back to me like taking like a full day or a full 2 days. So I think that's kind of why I haven't really I mean, I have the whole setup for it. It's just like to do visual. But I don't know, it'd be kind of like weird to just see me like reading from a script like and then they were doing this and then they like I don't know, like I can't memorize a whole true crime
Right.
case. So I think
Right.
that's kind of like where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that will, you know,
Too
be
well.
as good.
I could see you, and this is just me throwing out what I see. I could see you being doing very well doing like YouTube shorts because they're only 60 seconds.
True.
Um, and just, intriguing somebody with the case or giving cliff notes of the case and catch the rest on my podcast, that kind of thing.
Like little clips here and there, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And there, though,
Yeah.
once you have those, it's easy to either put it on TikTok or vice versa, TikTok to YouTube, even though TikTok gives you more time. Um, but it's I feel like it's just another way for people to find you and be engaging. We were very much not on the YouTube board until like we got to a certain place.
Yeah.
That was the goal. But then we kind of like, should we do this? So we just go ahead and bite the bullet, and we kind of slowly got into it, kind of like we did with podcasts. We just used our phone Now we have upgraded to an actual camera that we spent a decent amount of money on so that things look better. But
Nice.
yeah, I can
It definitely
totally
shows
see.
too.
Oh, thank you.
Like your
Um,
whole like production is just it's like so good.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, when we were doing the phone, there was an episode where we went blue.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Oh no.
they were like, what the hell happened? I was like, well, I guess it's going out. We're just going to be looking like Smurfs. But
Everything is fine.
I think after that episode, we're like, we're buying a camera.
Yeah, we
We're
need to
buying
do
a camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would work really
Yeah.
well for your brain.
I think it would too.
But just a suggestion, not.
The pressure's on.
Just let us know when you launch it.
Yeah.
Yes, we can do a whole visual collaboration.
I
So
love that.
Yeah.
So we know that you love the movie franchise Scream.
I mean, if you just move a little to the left.
Do I? Do I? Oh yeah, my babies.
Your ghost face, all there.
They're falling.
Oh, no.
They fall over. It's fine. We're good.
We tried to make this tricky, right? So if the franchise didn't exist, what would be your horror franchise of choice?
Pixar movies.
They're not scary.
I would probably. I'm trying to think of what my second favorite franchise. You know, I would probably say the Evil Dead franchise.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe I'm just like weird. Like I love horror movies that don't take themselves too seriously, and like the Evil Dead franchise is like it's very silly. It's very campy, over the top, and I mean the 2013 like reboot is like a horror masterpiece in my opinion. Everyone, don't come for me. I would have to say the Evil Dead franchise. I love the whole like kookiness and it's very bloody. So if you guys like bloody movies and scary visuals, I mean I definitely would suggest that. I wasn't a fan of the new one that came out this year, but I mean overall I would have to say that's my like second favorite franchise. So definitely Evil Dead.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, what is yeah, okay, I was just gonna ask. Look at me trying to take over again. I'm gonna just go sit over there. I'll be back.
Oh, that's a good one. As corny as it sounds, it's probably the Halloween franchise.
No, that's a good one.
There's just something about.
Okay, which timeline?
Ooh.
Because you have their like they have the what's it like the 1978? Is that when it started?
Yeah.
78, and then the second one, and then they got into like a whole cult theme, and then they rebooted it with H2O, and then they did Resurrection where Jamie Lee Curtis dies, and then it went to Rob Zombie. It's a mess. That's a whole like other collab. Honestly, talking about that.
Rob Zombie.
Okay,
I did not enjoy. I will say.
No.
I thought
not even the first one.
I did like
the first one. I feel like we lose so much steam after the first one when they reboot the Halloween franchise. Like this recent franchise reboot, that last one we saw, I wanted to just throw myself off the roof.
Halloween Begins
jump out of the movie theater
was really good, and then what was the middle one? Halloween
Kills.
Halloween Kills. That was
from the new franchise, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I like the first one. The middle one was okay, and the last one sucked.
Yeah,
that's just how I felt.
I don't even know what that was.
I was like, "What are we doing?"
I'm like,
"What are we watching?"
My life.
You can call yourself a Halloween film, but you'll never be. You'll never be glamour. No, I'm just kidding.
On this guy,
had to do a little drag race.
Care about.
Sorry,
I would say the first zombie one, and then The first two had that newer reboot, and the older one's just classic,
Oh,
like the
so
real
good.
original. Those are classic, and it's so fake, right? But it's so classic. Like,
No,
there's this man you
uh,
killed 1,000 times.
honestly, I think the original 1978 one, it's the scariest one for me. Just the
Mhm.
whole like the shadowing of like Michael and like the way that John Carpenter filmed it. I mean, and there's like a jump scare in there too for a 1978 film. And he just like looks so scary.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the music, like, and I think the older ones
Iconic.
are even more scary to me, yeah, because, like, I grew up with those, so it's like you're like a kid and you hear the music and you're like, "Oh shit. Oh shit."
Yeah. He's coming.
What about
Yeah.
you?
So I'm a child of the 80s. Um, so I wouldn't say that I particularly have a favorite franchise, but I grew up on movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, Critters.
Oh my God,
Uh,
Critters.
I love Critters, Ghoulies. Like it's it's scary, but it's also kind of silly at the same time.
Yeah, it's like it's camp. Like it's so
Yeah.
good.
I love those kind of movies. Those are what I grew up on. Like I just saw that they had Critters on some streaming service. I was like, I need to watch it because I haven't seen it in forever. So I want to watch it again.
Yeah. Were you a fan of Gremlins? I don't even think that's like really a horror film,
I love
but I mean,
Gremlins.
they're so cute. Yes.
They are.
You're like, "Aw."
Just don't feed them
Yeah.
after midnight. It's fine.
Or spill water on them.
Or spill water on them.
What do you think, this wasn't on the list of questions, but what do you think of, like, the newer movies that are coming out nowadays, like, through, like, The Nun, and what are some of the other ones?
Like the Conjuring
The
franchise or
Conjuring
like
franchise, or yeah.
Um, I just seen The Nun 2 like 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't a fan of the first Nun film, but I will say that this second one was kind of terrifying. I think any movie that shows like an actual like demon devil thing, it's pretty terrifying, and like and then I seen it in the MPX, so it's like super loud and like a really big
oh,
screen. And
Oh, wow.
that's
when
like
when that
go
devil
ahead.
man was stomping his feet, like it just it's so terrifying. So I mean, that one was good, but then the ending kind of ended like a Marvel film, so I was like, okay, you guys dropped the ball there.
Uh-uh.
But yeah, just I think modern horror relies too much on jump scares.
Mm, mhm.
I agree. It's not so much like we set a tone and there's a presence and
Suspense.
yeah, there's no suspense anymore. It's
Mm,
like everything is like she's going through the house, she's checking the doors.
yeah.
Oh, something moved behind her, and then like she opens the next door, boom, and it's like, okay, saw that coming.
And it's so obvious now because like you know it's coming because like they're like looking everywhere, and then it like the music and everything just goes silent and you're like, oh, here comes a jump scare. So you're like, I'm like ready for it already. I'm like plugging my ears and I'm going like, oh my God. Um but yeah, so it's so predictable. I mean, there
Yeah,
is some good modern horror, but I just think we need to kind of like chill on the jump scare.
the jump scare.
I was gonna say, that's one reason I don't go to the movie theaters to watch scary movies, because I get paranoid. I'm like, I don't want people seeing me jump in the movie theater.
He scares very easily.
You know, as someone who loves all of that like dark stuff and like horror, I'm the biggest chicken. I'm scared of maggots. Hello.
That was a
Yeah.
little paranormal y.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. So
I mean,
should
that's
I?
how I would feel.
Okay, I'll just tell y'all. So the other day there was an incident in my home where there were maggots all over my living room and kitchen floor. I like to keep a clean house, so I have no idea where they came from. I checked my animals, I checked my trash, I checked my cupboards. I even checked my like vents, and there was nothing. They just kept, and I kept killing them, and they kept like showing up. Like it was, uh, it was a good 5 hours of just me like standing there pacing back and forth. What am I going to do as all these maggots are like migrating towards my like patio like window? So once they're there, they're like starting to climb up on the wall by it and on the actual window. So I'm still freaking out and I'm like spraying them with like bleach now and like vinegar solution and I even used like the powdered bleach, like the what's it called, Ajax, and they're not dying. If anything, it's making them move faster.
Oh my
So I'm like, you know what? I don't know what else to do. So I start like lighting up incense and I just start burning them. And I have a lighter and I'm like burning them because they wouldn't die. So it was just the most terrifying experience. And it smelled like burned hair in my house. And it's so scary. So I almost didn't make it here, y'all, because my exterminator, yeah, they're just being really annoying. So I think this happened 2 days ago from when we're filming this. And yeah, so my exterminator barely came today, and it should be good now. But yeah, I think something might have just died in my walls, or there's a demon. I'm just gonna be just straight up about it. There's a demon. Maybe talking about all of the paranormal
has
and like the true
has
crime. It's bringing like
conjured.
bad energy. So I Palo Santo'd the house too. So hopefully it helps a little bit. But yeah, you get the exclusive
Thank
You heard it here
maggot
first,
gate.
you
y'all.
first.
It's funny because the other day I heard we have these 5-gallon water things in the garage,
Uh-huh.
and I heard one go doom 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 in the garage, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then I just kept going about it, my day, and then I was like, "Well, maybe I should check on that because it's maybe in the garage when Shawn drives in from work." And I kid you not, I wish I would have recorded it. I opened the door and one of the gallons flips inside the house as I'm opening the door. I'm like, and the dog comes. I told
No,
Shawn,
ma'am.
we have a ghost. We have a ghost. We have a ghost.
I refuse to believe that. I don't want any ghosts anywhere around me.
Start saging or something.
Yeah. I need to do something because I still think about the water. Just like, I'm like, that's how it starts, right? Just very subtle.
No, thank
Let me
you.
stop. Let me stop.
And then you have the whole like nun in your house. So yeah, no, you need to take care of that
Right?
ASAP.
I open up. I wake up in the middle of the night and there she is.
So on Sundays, I usually do laundry, and while I'm folding clothes, I will watch. I don't know if you know Nuke's Top 5 on YouTube.
I don't. But should I know about this?
Yeah, I think it would be up your alley. So basically, he'll have about 10 or 15 videos from all around the internet where people send it to him. And it's mostly paranormal things, anywhere from ghosts to weird cryptids or just unexplained stuff and aliens and UFOs and all of that. It's a very good watch.
Oh wow. Wait, is it like, have you guys heard of Chills? It's like a
No.
guy, he like talks in like a really monotone voice. He's
Oh
like,
my
this
God,
is
yes.
Chills.
Okay,
This is
okay, okay.
Chill.
I know who you're
I
talking
love
about
it.
now.
I
The
love
voice.
Chills. I love Chills.
So it's kind of similar because it is a disembodied voice talking to you.
And they count down.
Yes.
Okay.
So similar thing. Yeah. But
Some of them have made me scream.
yeah, because it's
Oh
some
wow.
of the things people just recording in their regular home and to see like either a spirit walk by. Like the one we watched, the last one we watched, a lady's dog had passed away. And
Oh yeah.
the lady was at home and she had a camera in her front yard, and I think her parents were coming to visit. And on the camera, you can see the dog like whisked by the parent, like a shadowy figure, but you could tell that it was a dog. And she was like, "Oh my God, he came to say goodbye to me." And like,
Oh my
there's,
god.
yeah, it was. I don't know.
Yeah,
That
crazy.
one was sweet.
There was one with a clown. You know, clown.
I
Oh
would
my
start
God, the
crying.
clown one.
Wait,
He.
a deceased clown? That's a ghost?
Okay, no,
It was a clown
it was like a
thing,
bit or
a
statue.
puppet. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
I hate stuffed dolls.
the head moved. He was recording and the head goes.
Like his grandmother passed away and he moved into her home and she collected dolls and she had this one creepy like jester. He was a court jester. And the doll would move or the guy would see him move suddenly and he was in a closet and when the guy was sleeping he would hear banging on the closet door.
Like banging.
No, man.
And he would get up, he would go open the door. It was just the jester in there. And so he moved it to the basement.
I'm getting chills.
And he moved it to the basement. He kept the camera recording it. And you could see his head slowly turn. And then eventually the camera falls over. Yeah.
No,
So, yeah,
ma'am.
nothing in my house.
We claim none of that energy.
No, I rebuke it.
No.
I told him I would have set the house on fire.
Yes. That was me with the maggots. I was about to blow up the house.
Oh, Lord.
No, ma'am.
So we. Huh? What?
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was just going to ask a quick fun one. Halloween, do you decorate or do you not decorate?
I decorate in August 1st,
All right.
because it makes me happy.
I'm
Yeah.
here for it.
I'm here for it.
As far as the whole like outside goes, I think I decorate the day of.
Okay.
Yeah, and this year I'm probably gonna scare some children. So yeah, we're gonna.
I love that. I love.
We're gonna. I created a whole like sound and like creepy bangs and all that. So yeah, we're gonna use my cosplay Ghostface outfit and get my money's worth out of it, pretty much. Yeah.
We love to scare the children.
We do. I love it.
Yes. It's
We put
it's
up
such
fog
a
machine.
yes. The fog machine comes out. Yes. I mean, it sounds so awful, but yes, I love scaring children.
I mean, you're coming to get free candies, so.
Right. You gotta do something for the candy.
Yeah, I gotta.
You better work for it.
Right.
Because candy
work for that candy.
More.
Oh my god, it's not.
Like $30 a bag
for 100 pieces. Like, get out of here.
Right.
Like, what?
So since we are big advocates of mental health here, we like you, as comfortable as you are, talk about your journey with anxiety, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it started fairly early. I think mine stems from like childhood and being bullied, and I guess just like not feeling like you're good enough. So I mean, there's that. So like even with like this right now, like I said, the whole like camera, I'm just like I'm kind of fidgeting, but this has actually been really cool so far, this experience. So I'm definitely having the like true like Manny and Shawn experience. So thank you for that. But yeah, it's been something that's kind of always been with me, and I'm not into like taking medicine. I don't want to be on like any pills, or I don't want to have to like rely on something. So I've never really had it like looked at, but I think just like some coping mechanisms that help is definitely the podcast. As weird as that sounds, just being focused on that, it kind of helps calm me down a little bit. Doing the whole like research and all of that. I also play video games a lot. That really helps me. I read. But yeah, I think I need to keep myself focused on being creative or something, just so I'm just like not always, because my mind runs wild. Like sometimes I'm just like there in bed, just like, shut the hell up, Anthony. Like go to sleep. Like it's gonna be okay. Like you're gonna be fine. but yeah, I mean, it's just there's little like practices too to kind of like ground yourself. Like there's like a tapping, or you can like rock yourself. Um, but I don't think, am I even answering this question properly? See, I'm second guessing myself right now.
No,
No,
second guessing
everybody's
yourself.
journey on that is different. Like some of the things you're
Yeah.
talking about are some of the things I do with anxiety. My therapist has sent me one once. It's like 5 things you do. I think it's like you pick 5 things that are around you.
Yeah.
Um, 4 things that you're thankful for, 3 positive words. And I'm paraphrasing. I'm probably very wrong, but it puts you grounded. Like it takes your brain away from what you were thinking about that was giving you that anxiety.
Yeah.
So no, I totally get that, and
Yeah.
I'm there with
I've
you. It's been a journey.
yeah, and I've tried the whole like journaling, and I don't know, that didn't work for me. But I mean, if it works for you, whoever's listening, keep doing it. But I mean, like you said, everyone's journey and path is like completely different than
Yeah.
the other. Um, but I don't know, like maybe I should, is this my intervention to seek out a therapist finally?
We are big proponents of
Yes,
therapists
we are.
and
Yeah,
therapy. It is a journey that you have to do or make the
of
decision to do on
course.
your own. But
Yeah.
I 100% support you starting that journey.
Well, thank
It's
you.
it's a good journey. It is nerve wracking at first.
It is.
Like
Yeah.
you're like, here's the stranger I'm about to tell my entire life to, and
Yeah.
but like once you find a really good therapist, it's really amazing. Like I haven't had a session in maybe a couple of months, but the tools that I've gotten over the year or so that I worked with him, like I go back to them now, and it helps me. Anxiety is not gone, obviously, um, but I know how to manage things better now than I used to before. Like he's probably very thankful. Learned how to manage my anxiety.
I
That's
am.
awesome though that you're working
But
through it.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you sharing that, being vulnerable there, because one of our things on our podcast is bringing awareness to mental health, whether you do see a therapist or not, but finding techniques to kind of work through
Cope with
those
it.
and
yeah.
not letting anxiety take over your life, because it can be scary at times when it does
Mhm.
overpower your mind so much.
Yeah, it's I think it's gotten to the point too where um like I don't even go out sometimes because I think just too many people like get me so anxious. Um I think
That's
COVID had
unfortunate.
I think COVID had a lot to do with that as well. Um I mean, I hate to say this and it's probably gonna sound selfish, but your boy was thriving during COVID. Like I loved just being home. I loved being able to like have my friends come over. Um, not to spread it, but to like, like my like
Right.
close group of friends. And
Mhm.
I really enjoyed it. I feel like it helped a lot of like from my experience, it helped a lot of people like bond and just kind of get to know each other more, versus just like let's go grab a drink and let's go dancing or something. Um, but I also think that that's kind of what caused my like it kind of like escalated it now, like to where I have like a social anxiety. But I mean, I'm just self-diagnosing myself at this point. But I mean,
No, I totally get that. Like COVID was a great time for me too. Like I'm like, home, sure, no problem.
yeah, yeah.
um. So last question, and you named a couple of things. So let's see. What is one thing you like to do for fun outside of podcast? Your one favorite thing.
I love to cook. I love to
Oh,
cook. Yes,
Okay.
I love to make. I make really good. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I like to make like really good. Why can't I think of the word? I am like blanking. Asada tacos, and I make really good carnitas. I do pickled onions on top, pickled
Ooh.
cucumber with chili. So yeah, I just love to cook. I haven't really been cooking lately, like that, because I've been kind of like
Yeah.
on a boring like diet. So I've just been eating like brown rice and like ground turkey. But like when I really want to get like creative, I'll do like something like that. I mean, Thanksgiving's coming. I make really good. I call them heart attack mashed potatoes. So yeah, I love to cook, and I think I should probably get into that because that also like really helped calm me. So this is like therapy already. Oh my gosh.
Right?
Cooking.
It's just sitting around talking to someone that will become your best friend that you never met.
Yeah. 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 But just so everyone knows, like it is a journey and you have to find the right one. Like the first therapist
Yeah.
that you, because I've heard stories, like the first therapist that you go to, you shouldn't put all your eggs in that basket,
Right.
because it might not be a good fit. So don't like force the whole process. Just be patient and you'll find that right person. I should take my own advice, honestly.
Yes, you should.
I totally
You can just
should.
replay this again.
I will rewatch this.
No, we totally. Cooking is really, really. I'm gonna have to come to your house for cooking now. Like,
I mean,
I love to eat.
I loved everything he named. So.
Love to eat.
It's very therapeutic, and then you get to eat it after. So, I mean, that's the best part. Except cleaning it up.
Oh, I hate cleaning. I do hate cleaning.
Devour it in 10 minutes and 1 hour to clean it up.
Right.
Wait, isn't the because this is a funny thing. I like to say Anthony because of the guy from
Anthony.
Queer Eye. Queer Eye
Oh
from
my gosh.
Queer Eye, straight guy.
Straight, yeah.
And he's the cook on there too, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. He's the food guy.
There you go. Yeah, I had a teacher in high school. She would call me Anthony. But I think hers was from like some Shakespeare book or something. She was my literature teacher, so I mean that would make sense. Anthony.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so much fun.
Super fun.
Super fun. Thank you so much for being our
Of course, I had a blast.
guest on our podcast. Hopefully, you're not.
Thank you so much for having
me. Blocks us on
No.
Thank
Not
you.
at all. Not at all. I have to get my whole setup together
yourself out.
next time. Yeah,
This
well,
is great.
you can. Thank you. You can all find me on. I'm most active right now on Instagram at Scream Queer Podcast. You can follow my personal journey, which is at Ralph Anthony with 3 Y's. And I also have a TikTok at Scream Queer Podcast. I'm starting to kind of post more on there. YouTube's like a ghost town. I mean, you can follow me there too, but I don't post much yet. But yeah, that's mainly it. And you can catch the podcast on all podcasting platforms. Oh my gosh, was that a dog? It scared me.
Yes, it was.
That was our dog.
I was like,
It's
oh
our
my
sound
god, who
effect.
screamed? Who screamed? Who screamed right now? I went, ah!
Got you.
Y'all got me. Y'all got me back for all those times. For all those times, you got me back.
Good job, Kenji.
But yeah, I'm on all podcasting platforms. But yeah,
thank you again for joining us today.
Of course.
It's really been a pleasure to have you here, and we will have you again whenever you want to come back. Just let us know.
Please.
We'd love to have you back. And if you start
Not just
your
for
mental health
Halloween.
journey,
Not just for
yeah.
Halloween.
If you start,
Yeah.
we can do a mental health episode,
For
mental
sure.
health awareness month, and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah.
We
And when I
will-
figure
we
out
will-
my collaboration tools, I have to get you guys on mine. I've just been having some technical difficulties over here. So I mean it's
okay,
all a
we
process.
understand. Yes.
Listen, our last podcast we recorded it in slow motion,
Yeah.
and Shawn had to figure that out.
It happens.
Wait, like a recent episode? Or
Like the last episode, I don't know. I think I hit a button on the camera and it recorded everything in slow motion. So I looked at it. I looked at the file and it said 2 hours and some change. I was like, we didn't
my
talk
God.
for 2 hours. Yeah, but I figured it out. So
oh wow.
it happened.
It happens,
We
yeah.
record the audio separate.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you again for coming. We wish you a great evening, a happy spooky season.
Happy that Maggot Gate is over.
Thank
for
you.
you.
Yes, oh Lord, have mercy. Yes, Magagate is over. I hope, but I will keep you
I hope.
guys posted. I will keep you guys posted. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great spooky season as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So for our Manny and Shawn Experience community, go check out Scream Queer Podcast. He gave you all the stuff. We're going to put it in the description, so definitely go check him out. It's going to be a spooky time. If you're driving, listen with caution.
Just turn it down a
Okay?
little
Just
bit.
turn it down a little bit.
Or if you like the ASMR,
Sorry,
turn
y'all.
it up a little bit. I don't know.
Turn it up a little bit.
It's a good balance of ASMR and jump scare.
It really
It
is.
really is. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Real quick, I'm going to tell you my
Oh,
favorite true crime thing.
Oh yes.
Okay, so I was listening to this podcast. I don't remember the guy's name. Anyway, so what he did, he would drive around town and he would pick up, let's say, a hooker. I know that's not politically correct, but whatever. And he brought her back to his home where he like chained her up and kind of psychologically messed with her to the point where she would go out with him to pick up other young girls and bring them back to the house. So he got like a collection of them and chained them in the basement. Ideally, he wanted to like impregnate them and have babies and the whole 9 yards. He would like barely give them water, barely give them food, and one of the girls wound up dying. And he made the other girls bury her in the basement where they were, which is really
Oh my
fucked up.
God.
So what eventually happened is he trusted like it was either the first girl or the second girl enough to go out of the house on her own, and she would come back because he knew like where her family lived and all of this. So one day she did go out and she just decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna tell the police. The police didn't believe her at first, and so she took him to the house. He was gone. They went in the basement. They saw the girls chained up. They freed him. I think only 2 girls died during this whole thing, but they did catch him, and he got life in prison as well. But that one really stuck with me because of the details of like how someone could be psychologically brainwashed, basically, to do something that they would never do, and that girl's like she'll never be the same again after all the things that she saw.
No,
and
so
let alone all the things
traumatizing.
she did. Yeah.
What was the name of that
End on
case?
that.
I don't know, but I will look it up because I remember the podcast that I got it from, and I will send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I want to listen to that. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you
Check
guys.
him
You
out.
guys are awesome.
Check him out. Please go check him out.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a good time.
You will. You know where to find us. All of our things are on the screen. Or if you are new here, read the description. Thank you for listening.
Well, that'll do it for us on the Manny Shawn Experience. We always like to say something hail Ralph, and we like to say do something good for yourself.
Then do something good for someone else.
Because,
Period.
we got to.
Period.
Amen.
It's spooky season.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.